Three stats, can you help me out?
30 hours.
Yeah. This type of shit you just ride out to.
What is the deal, beautiful people? Your boy Ramon in the building with the iPhone 7 camera, 7 Plus to be exact. You guys been waiting for this. You've been asking for it. So here it is. A few images that I have been holding on to for the last few weeks, and I actually edited out on the phone. Few disclaimers: I did not edit these images in Lightroom because I felt disappointed with the raw files that I saw in Lightroom, so I just decided to edit them in Snapseed. I got a few that I edited on the phone as well, but in Lightroom Mobile. So if you see something that doesn't look too copacetic, don't be upset. It was just going on Instagram. It was edited on the phone, so no big deal. My overall consensus here about the iPhone 7 camera is it has an amazing dynamic range, and it does hold on to a good bit of detail. But I'm still disappointed with the low light performance, and sometimes not even that much low light. I'm starting to see a lot of noise in these images, and that's been bothering me. And then my second disappointment would be the raw file situation. So the iOS app does not shoot raw files. You need to use a third-party application, and I was using one that was recommended by Jerry called ProCam, and I just couldn't get sharp images. A lot of these images were shot in ProCam, and I was very disappointed with them. So I reverted back to the regular iOS app, and the images were so much better. It was almost as if from a day-to-day snapshot point of view, Apple's app did a head over heels better job at setting the shutter speed, so I got sharper images. And then for the last few days, I've been playing around with Lightroom Mobile because I really want those raw files to get rid of a lot of that noise, and I've been getting better results with Lightroom Mobile. So more to come on the subject. I'm probably going to do a video for you guys. If you want it, hit the comment below, let me know, where I actually go through and edit some video, some pictures, both on the phone itself, so you guys sort of get a feel for what that workflow is like, and then I'll import some really good ones in Lightroom, and then sort of edit them up and make them showtime. So let's just look through the images so you guys can get a good feel for how capable the camera on the iPhone 7 is, and believe you me, it is capable. So when I say dynamic range, I mean, this is a very, and don't judge my photography, people. If you want to see my photography, follow me on Instagram at Ramon Trotman. Shameless plug. Don't forget to follow LD on Instagram as well. But this is I was looking for very technical shots to showcase what the camera can do. This is what I mean by dynamic range, right? So over here, there's a good bit of light. There's even, one would say, almost overexposed here on this rock. And then up here, it's just dark. It's just not a lot of light down here. And the amazing thing about the camera is its ability to hold on to detail in these situations where the dynamic range is so vast, right? So even here on this overexposed rock, we can still see the detail in the rock, and then up here we can still see some detail in the leaves and the tree. So that's super dope. And of course, can't take away points here because this is a reflection of the sun and it's overexposed. No big deal. This shot here, the first thing you'll notice is the wild amounts of noise. This was a low light shot, and this is what I was complaining about, but I used it to my advantage. I turned the image black and white, and noise and grain gives a black and white image a lot of character. So I pretty much just make sure the composition was right here. It still may be a little off. It's very tough to get composition right on a phone when edited in Snapseed, but most times it's good enough. Here's another one of those really complex shots where the shutter speed here, as you can see, is 1/130th. So this car wasn't in focus, but I like how sharp the billboard was, which was the point of this shot, right? I wanted to capture the essence of this scene where the billboard really is larger than life. You know, you got a person standing here and then you got a person standing here. So that to me was dope. And again, don't judge it by a lot of don't judge it by what you see here, because a lot of this comes from Snapseed and how that processes images on the phone. So I wouldn't start pointing fingers. Let's see, we could probably do a little bit of noise reduction here and make this even better. Yeah, it's not bad, not bad at all. But now it's a little too soft in the street. But yeah, dope shot. This is just a shot of this little, I don't know what you call this little exhibition, was in the lobby of the Standard. I thought it was cool. I added a lot of contrast to sort of black the background out and then black the foreground out. So what you're pretty much left with is the lights, and you can still see some noise here, right? Which is okay. It's not really in focus. I'll clean that up a little. See, much better there. You still got some detail there. Probably up the clarity a little. Where's my clarity? Yeah, not bad. Overall dope shot. And you start to see a theme, right? This is what the iPhone is good for, is these little snapshots of things you thought were dope stood out. You know, just capture it. So this shot I'm not particularly proud of, but there's a lot going on here, which is why I paused at the scene. So we got the clouds in the background, right? And this is a relatively low light image, 1/130th of a second. It was pretty dark out. You've got the purple hair on the building, right? We've got the dude walking, and he's somewhat frozen. You've got the reflections in the building. This was a very busy shot, and I think the iPhone did a good job at capturing everything. But of course, you know, actually putting it in Lightroom kind of falls apart. But nonetheless, and this was too much shot. This was part of my my disappointment, is because my idea for shooting raw was so I can get it in Lightroom and sort of get rid of a lot of that noise that we get because we're pushing the camera. But the apps that shoot raw weren't really giving me proper technical images. Here's a good one. Froze them nice, 1/220th of a second. That's about it. Anything above 1/250 will freeze action perfectly. This is close enough. They're frozen. The bus is moving, is frozen. You see Trump Tower in the background. This is a good shot for me because despite what you read on Facebook and Twitter and you hear your neighbors arguing about, this was after the election and life goes on. These two dudes living their life, and there's the evil Tower of Doom in the background. So that was an interesting shot for me. Here was a shot from Vancouver. My thing here was the colors. I wanted to show the range in the colors, and I kind of screwed it up with my editing. It was way too heavy-handed, but nonetheless, you see, you know, let's tone it down a little. Let's just get in there for a quick. There we go. You see how well the iPhone handles color. It's capable of doing some very, very dope stuff. Especially if you, I would say, if you take your time and you let's bring that red down. If you take your time, it's less blown out. You take your time and compose a shot, and maybe if you do use ProCam and really dial the settings in yourself, you'll get a better shot. But for me, it wasn't worth it at that point. I'll just take my camera out, right? But still impressive. This was an impressive shot to me. Of course, I screwed it up when I was editing. I was too heavy-handed on the color, so let's bring that down. Get some of the detail back. Let's up the clarity a little. Drop the vibrance. And bring it back. Let's work this in. Let's work the. Here we go. I don't know. I'll warm it up a little. Oh, I screwed it all up. But anyway, I'm not gonna fumble with it right now. But this was a very dope technical shot because the buildings in the background was in focus. The clouds look nice. There's some great, although there's some highlights here, it's not blown out. We still see the mannequin in focus. We got the bags over here, in focus. You got the reflection of the chandelier. I really thought it did a good job here. This was probably my favorite shot I've taken on the iPhone so far, because I'm a big fan of photojournalism, and this is what this is, right? This was a few days after the election, and of course I showed you this guy where everything's fine, and I show you these fuck faces spreading mass pandemonium. So we can just tighten up that composition a little, bring it in. This was it, right? This captured. This was something I really wanted to capture, was the media at work, and it did a good job. And I turned it black and white, and I made it very contrasty, very punchy on purpose, because I wanted people to feel a certain way. So this was a really good shot, and everything's in focus, of course, we see, and there's a great amount of detail. There's reflections here, and even though this LED panel was really harsh on his face, it still did a good job at maintaining it. I don't have the original one to show you, but the color in his face was still pretty good. So good job here. And this is a classic street shot I'll get somewhere in Lower East Side. Actually, I gotta clean up the composition here a little bit. This is again, you sort of see what I struggle with, right? Like, composition on the phone and Snapseed is really difficult for me to do. But yeah, the colors here are great. The detail is great. Not complaining at all. Great shot from the iPhone. The composition is terrible, but I need to go back and get this shot. Actually, there's a lot going on here. The graffiti, the color of the facade here, and then you've got, like, in the middle of Soho, these people fuck Canada Goose, and there's a lot going on here. NYPD, FDNY, yada yada yada. I also like this fire escape. I'll probably go back with my camera in something like a 20 mil and kill that shot. This right here, dope shot, really punchy on purpose, lots of contrast, really brings out the king. And of course, I got the girl here. Now this was an issue I ran into, where a lot of the times I would try to crop in to fix my composition, because, as you know, it's one thing to walk around an adjustable lens where I'll move my feet, I'll zoom in, I'll zoom out to get the right composition. When I'm doing street photography or mobile photography in general, I'm more of a in a snapshot mode. I'm just bang bang bang, 2 or 3 that I think is good, and I'm gone, and I'll crop in later to fix it. Because one of my complaints in the review I did was, I wish they, instead of giving us a second lens to zoom in, I wish they just gave us one lens with a big ass sensor that gave me enough data that when I zoom in, I still maintain a lot of the detail. So I'm starting to notice that I really do prefer cameras with larger sensors for more detail and cropping in post. This one was, I just like the composition here. I like the composition, I like the contrast. Very minimalistic. It really popped in black and white. And again, snapshot, iPhone did a good job here. Very good job on this one. Everything was sharp. These girls were actually pointing at the new Nike store. Look at her eyes. That's dope. This was the new Nike Soho store behind us, like 5 stories of Nike. This guy, he didn't think he was in a shop, but he is. A lot going on here as well. The colors, it's hard here because it's a low light shot, and I really can't stand what's happening with the colors. Like, no matter what I do with this shot, it's gonna look like trash. But if I turn it black and white and I make it contrasting, really punchy, all of a sudden there's a dope story to be told, right? So there's that. Where's my vignette? Right, so I think this would be probably what I would go with here. But yeah, and this is the JPEG, right? I mean, the raw image I had a little more to play with, which was fine. So still good on that. Good on this right here. I did a little too over process it in Snapseed, but still a good image. This this was a good one, but this was one that I sort of fumbled because the original shot I took, she was facing the window and she was actually looking in the Tiffany window, but it came out blurry. Again, the perils I've been having with the ProCam app. So I just switched over to the iOS app and captured this, and unfortunately she was looking at me, but it's still a dope shot. I preferred it before. Here's a shot of the cops standing in front of Trump Plaza, just holding up this blue line to have pedestrians queue up until the light change. That's literally what we're paying them to do now. Thank you, Trump. This shot right here was edited in Lightroom Mobile, not Snapseed, and you can really sort of tell. One of the things is the gradient tool. Is that what it's called? Yeah, the gradient filter. This guy, my ability to do that is actually available in Lightroom. So that's what I did. If you notice, the left side, the sidewalk is a lot more warm than the street. So it gives this, the sidewalk is more inviting than the streets, right? Which is a narrative indeed. And then we've got the fog because it was lightly raining, and the building is obviously way above the clouds, it would seem. But yeah, and even here there's a good bit of noise in this shot, right? I took it with the Lightroom app. I do have the raw somewhere, so it's cool. It's cool. I might actually prefer the Lightroom mobile to Snapseed because I can get a little more color grading options going on. Here I just went for like the sepia look. It's cool. Nice little action shot. More so to show off how the iPhone performed. This is a cleaner composition. I could probably even just get rid of that truck altogether. It's kind of distracting. This is cool, but now that's distracting. Just another random shot, snapshot, not bad. This guy, this was when I was first struggling with ProCam. And don't get me wrong, I've gotten better with the ProCam. It just took a while, man. Oh my God, it took a while. And I'm still not happy with it. But this was when I first started, and you could see how much noise was in the shot. Like, I couldn't get rid of this no matter how much I tried. But a lot of this is over processing on my end, so don't judge it. Here's a nice clean shot. You see, this is a good example of bokeh. So, or the depth of field, I should say. You see how the watch here is in focus, and again, you see that noise. You guys, you getting the theme here, so that cleaned that up. Hang on. Let's up the detail, a little bit of the contrast. Nope. Okay, so you see we've got the watch clearly in focus. We've got 2 layers of clothing here, and then you see the background is really blurred out. So this is when people always ask, how do you do these shots? And I know Apple came out with the portrait mode to do just this. It's not as dramatic as the portrait mode, but the key to getting this shot is just to make sure you're really close to your subject, and the background will naturally fall out. So there's that. There's this classic Brooklyn scene where downtown Brooklyn, Cobble Hill, you've got the fall leaves on the floor. You've got them turning red over here. Dope shot. Nothing really to scream about, but I think it definitely does salute the season. This was at like 5:30 in the morning because your boy's always on the move. I just like the lines leading to the sunset, but clearly I over edited the image, and that's again my problem with Snapseed. I can't tell when I'm overdoing it, but when it goes on Instagram, it looks fine, so it is what it is. Shot from Central Park. Really like this. I have no idea what this means, by the way. Neither will I care to Google it, but it's a dope shot with, you got the dead leaves with all the different colors around it, and it did a good job at showing us the color range here and the dynamic range. Coworker with a jacket she made. That's dope. I like how punchy that one came out. And then this is me flying back in from Vancouver. You see the sunset rolling in. This was about 4:30 in the morning. I caught the red eye, and what stood out to the shot was it was breathtaking to see Times Square right here. It was just so bright. So, pull out the phone, got the snapshot, and that's what it is. So, yeah, I mean, overall, I wouldn't say I'm impressed with the iPhone 7's camera. I would say I'm satisfied. There something with this noise needs to be done. I don't know if Apple can update that. I'm hoping they can update that in future releases, but I don't know, software updates is something. It definitely is annoying, but in the daytime with ample lights, the images look nice. I think from here on out, it's all about how you edit these pictures. And again, I want to emphasize, don't judge it based on what you see here on a high-res monitor. These images look totally fine on the phone, and they look totally fine when we upload them online. So, yeah, I think it's a very capable camera. Not as impressed as when I first started playing with one of the Galaxy phones. Even the new S7, that camera's in beast mode. But Apple knows what they're doing. I wish they would update it to get rid of the noise, and then fix this silly issue where the default app doesn't shoot RAW. I don't want to fumble around with apps anymore. It's just not. It's not a pleasurable experience. But I hope you guys, it's been kind of long. I had a lot of images to review. I just want to show you guys a range of different things and show you just how capable the camera is. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. You got any ideas you want us to do, you want us to execute? What are your thoughts and comments on the camera? Do you yourself have an iPhone 7? Have you been experiencing this noise issue? I think probably next is I will do a few videos of actually editing photos on the phone itself, so you guys can see what that workflow looks like for me. But yeah, here it is. I promised you guys the videos and the review, and here it is. It's your boy Ramon. I'm out of here. Peace.